What are you drinking? Guess I'll
I
find
am
out.
drinking. Well, howdy do, buckaroos. We are on the air. Jeff just asked me what I'm drinking. I'm drinking the 6 Degrees chocolate porter ale brewed with cocoa nibs from Public House Brewing Company, St. James, Missouri. They have 2 locations, St. James and Rolla. Let me show you this beautiful chocolate porter, man. I'm good. See, now my voice was getting better. Now I'm back to Winnie the Pooh voice again. So Jeff Lyons from NEBR is joining me. So Jeff, what are you drinking tonight, my friend?
Well, I picked up the 12. There's a new 12 pack out from Sam Adams. It's their Hopology, and it includes most of their IPAs, or a number of their IPAs. And for the moment, I am drinking the Rebel Rouser, which you've probably seen and tried yourself. 8.5% ABV. And I've had it before, but this is the one I'm happy to be drinking at the moment. This 12 pack includes, I think, the 48 Latitude, the Rebel Rouser. It includes a new beer, not new per se, but it hasn't been around for a few years, called the Grumpy Monk, which I really
Yeah, I've had the Grumpy Monk. It's good.
I tried that one earlier and I really liked it. It includes the Tasman Red. So this is a New England, of course, Boston Beer Company out of Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. So, you know, Sam Adams fits right into my NEBR niche, and I'm drinking the Rebel Rouser Double IPA, 8.5%. And you've probably had it. I'm sure a number of our viewers have checked it out, but, you know, I mean, it's a beautiful beer. And I've had it before, and it's got some punch, and I'm sure by the end of this review, I might be slurring my words a bit.
I hope so. For some reason, I'm just getting your icon, Jeff. I don't know why.
Well, I'm seeing you live. I'm not sure what the story is. I'm seeing you live, so I don't know.
Change yours. There you go. Now I got you. Now you're there, Jeff.
There I am. So now I got to show it again, I guess. Rebel Rouser.
You've had a rough week,
from
Jeff.
Sam Adams. Amber orange color with a nice.
There we go. Hey Jeff, you've had a rough week, so you really need that beer tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I'm willing to talk about it more now. It's a personal family issue. I'll let my friend, my son, he's 20. He was involved in a car accident about a week ago. He was not hurt, and a lot of people ask me, is he hurt? I said, no, he was not. He's a good kid. It wasn't even his fault. He got rear-ended, and his car got crunched, and they totaled it. And for the last week or so, I've been really busy trying to help him kind of get back on the road again. And this week, we got a decent payoff on the car. I was quite surprised. The car was 9 years old. I figured we'd get maybe 2,000 because it was a really old car with high miles. And I thought, well, we might get 2,000, 2,500 miles, but we ended up getting over 4,000, which was kind of nice.
Nice.
And so he and I, earlier in the week, his brother is a mechanic, and we went out to a couple of private deals, found a really nice car for under $4,000, and a Toyota Camry with about 130,000 miles, fully loaded, and bought it for $3,800, took it, got it inspected, got it registered, and he's back on the road. And quite frankly, this has been quite the week from hell, as they say. Because you're a parent, and you want to do what's best for your kid. And in this case, I think we turned out all right. I'm quite pleased that everything turned out all right. So now I can kind of get back to my normal routine, which is drinking some good beers and enjoying relaxation and whatever else.
So Jeff, I've wanted to ask you this question for a while and hadn't got around to it. So how did you start NEBR, New England Brew Reviews?
Excuse me. I swallowed this wrong. This is embarrassing. The whole world has seen me choke. Okay, well, here's what happened. Back in few beer reviewers on YouTube started up around 2008, 2009. And I've always been a fan, and as you know, and I've talked about it here before, I've been a craft beer fan since the 1980s. The first craft beer I ever had was Catamount from 1987. And so I've been a craft beer fan for many, many years. And I've been a member of, I know you're not a big fan of these sites, but I am a fan. I am a member of Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, and I started doing reviews on those sites back in the mid 2000s, because I enjoyed doing it. So around 2010, I was watching a bunch of YouTube reviews of a few people who, some of the pioneers, like Chad and a few others, who were some of the early reviewers on YouTube. And I said, I can do that. So my first review showed up in January of 2010. It was a Smutty Nose beer. And in the beginning, I used to only do I used to put the camera on the beer. My feeling was that people should look at the beer and kind of take a look at it and so on. And they didn't need to see my face. They could take a look at the beer themselves and maybe enjoy the experience with the camera on the beer. And then, I don't know, 6 or 8 months later, I had a few people saying to me, how come you never show your face? And I said, well, okay, I know. I finally showed my face. And that was probably late 2010. And, I started showing my face at that point. Had no real problem with it. I've always been doing New England beer reviews. So the original website was New England Beer Reviews, kind of a long title. But I work in the public relations field, and part of that, and marketing, and part of that is you want to find something catchy, something that people will remember, something that'll grab you. So I said, New England Beer Reviews. What are the initials? NEBR. Okay, NEBR. And there are a lot of ways you can look at that. NEBR as in New England Beer Reviews, or you can look at it as NE Beer, any beer. But I still focus on New England beers. So I came up with this NEBR, maybe, I think it was 2012, somewhere in that ballpark. I'd already done maybe 100 or so reviews on my page under New England Beer Reviews. And then I came up with NEBR just to be catchy, whatever. And since then, I've been doing the NEBR thing. But the way I look at it now is when I say NEBR, you say it quickly, any beer, it might give me some. I haven't done it yet, but I'm debating the idea of expanding out to New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania, maybe doing Northeastern beer reviews. But I have plenty of beers to choose from in New England that I've hardly even touched on. So that might be a little ways out. But I get a lot of people that say to me, why don't you do, Pliny the Elder? Or why don't you do Stone? Or why don't you do whatever? And I said, well, they're outside of New England. My focus is on New England. And that's good and bad. I mean, I get a lot of followers on my New England page. I get people in New England who follow me and like to watch the reviews I do. But unlike you, Tom, you get like maybe 100 hits or something on one of your reviews. I might get 20 or so because someone in California or Utah or Alaska has never heard of something from Outhouse Ales and hooks it in Northwood, New Hampshire.
I actually don't get that many right away, but yeah, just because you're called New England Beer Reviews doesn't mean you have the beer from New England. There are folks that call themselves, various state reviews, and they do any beer. I mean, New England Beer Reviews is where you're from. You're the New England Beer Review guy, but you could do a beer from anywhere.
I do, and I have a couple of secret pages. I actually am on Vimeo, and I'm also on Daily Motion.
Jeff, I'm going to stop you just for a second, if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
And I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to let you keep talking about what you're talking about, because what happens when two guys are sitting in a pub? We're having a conversation, we're drinking a beer. One of them has to go pee, and that's what's happening right this second. So
Tom, I appreciate the fact that you've told all of our listeners that you have to go to the bathroom. But here's the story. I'll tell you a little bit. I actually have a page on Vimeo, and I have a page on Daily Motion. On my Vimeo page, what I do is kind of classic beers. I call it beers my dad drank. And so some of the I haven't done that many of them, 8, maybe 10 reviews on the Vimeo website. And the beers I've done there are beers that are sort of classic adjunct. Today they're considered adjunct lager. So some of the beers I've reviewed on my Vimeo page include Black Label, Rheingold, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Schlitz, Schaefer, beers like that. I call it beers my dad drank. And these are beers my dad drank in the 1950s and 60s and 70s. And, my dad is still alive. He's over 90. He's 90 years old, but he used to drink a lot of beers back in the, well, not a lot, but his favorite beers were pretty much the standard national brews of the day, which is, we're talking about Schlitz, Schaefer, things like that. And so he did those, drank those in the 50s and 60s. So I have on my Vimeo page, I do a thing called Beers My Dad Drank, and I've done a few beers, sort of classic beers. On my Daily Motion page, I get into more beers that are more a wider array. I've done St. Bernardus, I've done Stone Brews, beers that are outside of New England. Because YouTube, I like to focus on New England, but on my Daily Motion page, I've done not a lot. I've done 8, maybe 10 reviews on my Daily Motion page where I talk about Stone, where I talk about St. Bernardus, beers like that that are more common and more available in other parts of the country. And occasionally I will post a link on Facebook somewhere. But, I don't do those beer reviews that often. I'd like to do more of those. I just don't do them that often. So,
well, I'm back, Jeff, so I appreciate you holding down the fort while I was, otherwise occupied.
Hey, I worked in radio broadcasting for 18 years. I can talk forever.
So, Jeff, why did DJs play In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida?
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, I played that song a few times.
Yeah, it's usually when they were either getting high or had to go to the bathroom. Yeah.
But I worked in radio broadcasting from 78 till 95. My early years, I was a DJ. I hate to use the word DJ. They like to call them personalities. And so I was on the air spinning the tunes and playing the music. Then I became a news person. I actually taken, during my college years, I'd taken a couple of, several courses in journalism. And so, interesting thing, I worked in small market radio, and I love to share this story because it's so typical of small market radio. Day guy, I was on the air from 10 till 3. I was the midday personality where I'd play music and just sort of enchant my fans or whatever else. And then we were bought out in 1983 by another owner, and they came up to me and said, "So, did you take some journalism at college?" I said, "Yeah, I took a year of it." I said, "Okay, you're our new news guy." That was all there was to it. So they immediately took me off the air as a DJ and put me into the news department. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I was having some technical
difficulties. My mic went off for a minute.
There we go. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just getting icons. I don't know what the hell is on. But anyway,
what I was saying is I worked for radio broadcasting for a long time, and the main reason I started doing radio news was because typical small market radio, and it's hard to talk to if you don't understand the field. It's difficult to explain, but in small market radio, they use all whatever available resources are available to them to try to be successful. And here I was a DJ for a couple of years, and the general manager came up to me and said, "So, didn't you take some journalism courses at college?" I said, "Yeah, I did." So, "Okay, you're our new news guy." That was all there was. That was it. You're our new news guy because you took journalism for a year. So I ended up going into radio news in '83, and that's kind of how I completed my radio career.
So why'd you give it radio, Jeff?
Well, everything is about ratings. Everything's about market. And, well, the station was changing in those days, and they kind of said to me, we don't really need news anymore, so see you later.
Oh, that sucks.
But I was able to land a job in the public relations field shortly after that, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So, it's worked out really well for me. I've actually been doing public relations longer than I did radio broadcasting. I kind of miss radio to some extent, but I like what I'm doing now. It's kind of neat to really talk about public relations and promote something that you really feel strong about. I do kind of miss some of the perks of radio broadcasting. Didn't pay much in small market, but it was kind of neat to intermingle with, celebrities, and you got a lot of freebies from your local advertisers who would let you come in and maybe get a free tank of gas, for example, or free meal at a restaurant because they advertise on the station. You were sort of a local celebrity, people around our broadcast area knew exactly who I was. I actually had to sign some autographs to little kids when I was still in the radio field. In some respects, I thought that was both funny and kind of flattering. It's kind of like, you want my autograph? Yeah. Okay, here it is. It's kind of like, wow, I feel pretty important.
That's pretty cool. Oh, man. Jeff, I don't know what's going on with this thing. I keep getting just icons. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, you look clear to me, and my screen shows.
I don't even look clear to me.
And my screen is showing me live on the on the webcam, so I don't know.
Well, there you go. So maybe it's working. Are you still drinking the Sam Adams?
I am the Rebel Rouser at the moment. This is the double IPA. It's like 8%.
Now, as that's kind of settled on you a little bit, are you noticing any different flavors?
Well, I've had a couple of beers tonight, so I haven't really noticed a whole lot. But it does have a good, real piney, a good floral character. It's got some punch to it. The booze is not really noticeable, but it also has that sort of traditional Sam Adams yeast and malt character.
So as far as double IPAs go, how does that fall in your,
I'm sorry, I missed the question, Tom. Say that again.
As far as double IPAs go, where do you rank this one?
Well, I guess I'm not a big double IPA fan. If you're trying to compare this to Heady Topper, there's no collection. Or Pliny, there's really no, it doesn't really, it's much less than that. It's more closer to Hop Stupid, maybe. That might be a good comparison. But even there, it just seems, I'm getting a bit of a punch, but it's not quite as floral, grassy, resiny, whatever, typical hop characters that you might get in a Pliny or a Heady Topper or even a Hop Stupid. So I would put it a little lower below those particular beers, but it's better than a typical IPA as far as, if you like hops, it's got some bitterness, it's got some punch, it's going to really knock you out. But if you're trying to compare it to Heady or Bissell Brothers or any of those beers that really specialize in the hops, it's a little less than that.
But do you feel it's a well-crafted beer?
Mm-hmm. I would think so. I think it's a fairly nice crafted beer, but I don't have a real problem with Sam Adams. I know Sam Adams, the problem was a lot of people, Sam Adams has been around so long, since the 1980s, that a lot of people who are kind of getting into the craft beer craze these days kind of compare Sam Adams to like Heineken or Budweiser or something. They're almost calling him a macro brewer, and I don't agree with that. Sam Adams has been around for a very long time, but I think they put a lot of energy and creativity into their beers, and there's always something unique that they offer, and I really can't compare them to Budweiser, Michelob, Miller, Coors, that a lot of people who seem to who've sort of entered the craft beer craze, they kind of saying, I'm not going to drink Sam Adams, they're just a macro. I don't agree with that at all. They are nationally known. Their beers are available in almost all states, probably all 50 states, but I still think they put a lot of time and energy and creativity into their products,
Yeah, I agree. My issue with Sam Adams is at this point, I think at one point they were really on the cutting edge of craft beer, and I feel like at this point they're kind of on the back burner of craft beer. I mean, they're kind of there. They do nice beers. They're solid within the style, but they're not doing a whole lot out of the box, and I don't think they're trying to.
Well, you got to try that Grumpy Monk if you haven't tried it yet. I was quite impressed with that beer, and really emulated all the typical Belgian styles. Brought out the clove, and brought out the pepper characters, a nice toasted malt character, sort of all balanced all together. It was very easy to drink. I really drank it down quite quickly, and I've got one bottle left. I might actually do a review of that beer this weekend on my NEBR page.
Very nice. I'll be looking forward to it. So,
So,
Jeff, any final words for this session of drinking with the beer for this edition of the Spur Pub?
I'm not sure what else to add. I mean, I'm enjoying this Rebel Rouser. It's definitely got my head spinning because it is 3.4% ABV, and I had a couple.
That's a biggie.
On this one, so it does kind of put me out there on La La Land a little bit. But otherwise, I don't mind it.
So I'm finishing up my last sip of. This is a local brewery to me. Well, it's about 2 hours away, but I consider it local. It's nice. It's a nice chocolate porter. You get all those aromas of chocolate like you're looking for.
So, Tom, do you think
it's very approachable? Yeah.
So, Tom, do you think when this video is done, maybe it won't use my face in the thumbnail?
Yeah, I'll see.
It seems like all the videos I've done with you lately, my friend, shows my freaking face, and you're the guy it's your channel.
Well, I don't have an ego, Jeff. I don't, I just don't really have an ego. So I'm okay when that happens. I like to showcase my guests.
Your channel, and you're the one who invited me to talk, and then suddenly
I like to showcase the folks that show up in my session.
Well, it just amuses me because you're the guy who invited me to talk with you to discuss beer, whatever we're discussing, and then suddenly it's my face that shows up in your thumbnail.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I mean, you don't want your face to show up, put somebody else on. But
I don't really care.
Again, I don't really have a large ego. I'm all about, but for you and I think it's about the same. We just like to have a good time and have a nice conversation. And that's what these pub videos are all about.
Yep. So anyway, that's about all I have to say. It's a good beer.
On that note, hey, thanks, Jeff, for joining me at the Beer Whisperer Pub. And we might be back.